Okay, so are you ready for this? We are diving into some pretty crazy stuff today. We're looking at how the crypto world is reacting to the 2024 U.S. election. And get this, it looks like the crypto community is celebrating Trump's return to the White House. Talk about an unexpected twist, right?
Yeah, it is surprising for sure, especially because, Trump hasn't always been the biggest fan of crypto. But what we're seeing now is kind of a seismic shift in the crypto landscape. As it stands right now, the Associated Press is saying, projecting, I should say, a pretty decisive win for Trump with 277 electoral college votes. He's way past the 270 he needed to win. Kamala Harris is behind him with 224. And it doesn't look like she has any way to win at this point. Trump has already said he won. And international leaders are even starting to send congratulations.
Well, hold on. So Trump declared victory on election night itself, and the crypto community is happy about this. I thought he used to be pretty anti-Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, you're right. Trump's views on crypto have definitely changed. During this campaign, he basically did a 180. He was all about ending what he called the war on crypto, and he really wanted to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the whole world. He even made some big promises at the Bitcoin 2024 conference earlier this year.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What kind of promises are we talking about?
Oh, he went all out. One of his biggest promises was to fire Gary Gensler, the current SEC chair. He said he'd do it on day one. And the thing is, Gensler has been kind of a pain for the crypto industry. He's really strict about crypto regulation, and a lot of people feel like that's stopping innovation and just creating a bunch of unnecessary roadblocks. Trump even hinted at replacing him with Hester Pierce. She's a current SEC commissioner, and she's known for being a lot more crypto friendly. So this possible change in leadership has a lot of people excited because it could mean a much more relaxed environment for crypto, paving the way for more innovation and investment in the space.
Okay, yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But he didn't just stop there, right? What else did he promise?
Oh, there's more. He also promised to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. government, no less. And it would hold a massive 200,000 Bitcoin. Just imagine that for a second, a government holding that much Bitcoin. It could really change how the global economy works and how people see cryptocurrencies in general. Like, is it really a legitimate asset class? It's pretty unprecedented. He even mentioned that this reserve would be funded by Bitcoin seized during enforcement actions. So basically, Bitcoin taken from criminals would go into this reserve. And on top of all that, he also promised to really support Bitcoin mining in the US. His goal is to make America the leader in the global mining industry.
Wow, that's a seriously pro-crypto platform. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. Why is the crypto community so overwhelmingly supportive of Trump? Especially given, how skeptical he was in the past. What's causing this sudden wave of enthusiasm?
Well, there are a few things at play here. First, there's been a lot of uncertainty about crypto regulations. Under the current administration, I mean. The crypto community is hoping that Trump will clear things up and create a better environment for businesses and investors, his recent statements, and the possibility of having someone like Pierce in charge of the SEC are definitely giving people hope. And then there's the money side of things. Trump got a lot of money from some big names in the crypto world. For example, the founders of Gemini and Kraken, they both publicly said that Trump was the only pro-crypto candidate. And they backed that up with some serious donations. So this financial support from influential figures in the crypto community, it definitely helped shape the idea that Trump is the pro-crypto guy.
So it's not just like grassroots excitement then. There's a real strategic and financial element to this support. Are there any other big names in crypto who are on board with Trump?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, was a big supporter. And we also saw endorsements from Mike Belsha, who's the CEO of BitGo, and Justin Sun, the founder of Tron. Even Charlie Shrem, one of the founders of the Bitcoin Foundation, was on board. So yeah, the range of support from some of the biggest names in crypto is pretty amazing.
Wow, it sounds like Trump's projected win has really shaken things up in the crypto market. And speaking of shakeups, we can't ignore how much Bitcoin's price has surged. Can you tell us what happened there?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Bitcoin went on a tear after Trump's projected win. It smashed its all-time high, briefly hitting an incredible $75,000 on November 6th.
$75,000. That's insane. I'm curious, where's Bitcoin trading at right now?
At the time this article was written, Bitcoin was around $73,580. So that's a 7% jump in just 24 hours. This surge really shows that the market is reacting well to Trump's return, especially because of his pro-crypto stance and the anticipation that he might introduce some game-changing policies.
So Bitcoin is going crazy, but what about the rest of the crypto market? What's the overall picture looking like?
Well, if we zoom out and look at the big picture, the total cryptocurrency market cap, which is basically the combined value of all the cryptocurrencies out there, is currently sitting at around $2.6 trillion. This is according to CoinGecko. And just to give you some context, the market reached an all-time high of over $3 trillion back in November 2021. So we're seeing a surge now. But there's still room for growth and excitement in the future.
It's crazy to think that the crypto market is already worth trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
It really shows how important this space is becoming. And this election, along with how the market is reacting to it, definitely suggests that some interesting times are ahead.
Yeah, you're right. This might be a turning point for how crypto fits into the global financial system. We're seeing a major world power seemingly embrace this technology, and that could completely change the game.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this election is such a big deal for the crypto world. But let's be real for a second. Do you really think Trump is going to deliver on all his promises? I mean, campaign talk is one thing, but actually governing is a whole different animal.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There's always a gap between what politicians say on the campaign trail and what they actually do once they're in office. Will he actually fire Gensler? Can he really set up that massive Bitcoin reserve? And what will the impact on Bitcoin mining in the U.S. actually be? These are all things we need to watch carefully as his term plays out.
You're right. It's easy to get caught up in all the hype. We need to stay grounded and see what concrete actions are taken. But still, even just the possibility of these changes is enough to send the crypto market into a frenzy, right?
Absolutely. Remember, sentiment and speculation drive a lot of the action in the crypto market. The idea that we might have a more favorable regulatory environment under Trump, combined with all his bold promises, is enough to spark a lot of optimism and investment. But we also need to balance that optimism with a healthy dose of realism as we wait to see how things actually play out.
That's a great point. So we've got a president-elect who seems to be pro-crypto, a crypto community that's buzzing with excitement, and a market that's reacting with surging prices. It's a lot to process. But what about the average person who's just starting to explore the world of crypto? Where does all of this leave them?
That's a really important question. This election outcome could have a big impact on anyone interested in crypto. It doesn't matter if they're a seasoned investor or just starting out. If Trump's promises turn into real actions, we could see a crypto landscape that's more accessible, more regulated, and maybe even less volatile. This could mean more opportunities for everyday people to get involved in the crypto economy. We might see wider adoption by the general public, more investment from traditional financial institutions, and even the creation of new financial products and services built on blockchain technology.
So it sounds like things could get really interesting really fast. But with all this talk of potential benefits, are there also risks we should be aware of? What should people be cautious about?
Yeah, it's really important to remember that the crypto space is inherently volatile and unpredictable. Even with an administration that seems to be pro-crypto, there are still a lot of unknowns. The regulatory landscape could change in ways we don't expect, new technological challenges could pop up, and global economic factors could have a big impact on the market.
You're right. It's important to keep those potential risks in mind. So let's recap for a second. We have a potentially game-changing election outcome, a crypto community that's on the edge of its seat, and a market that's both excited and uncertain. What does all of this mean for the average person who's interested in crypto, or maybe even already involved?
I think the key takeaway here is to stay informed, do your research, and approach the crypto space with a balanced perspective. It's exciting to see this level of engagement from the crypto community and the potential for positive change that a pro-crypto administration could bring. But it's equally important to be aware of the risks that are always present and to make smart decisions based on your own personal situation and how much risk you're comfortable with.
That's good advice. There's so much to think about and so much to watch unfold in the coming months and years.
Absolutely. The crypto world is always changing, and this election has really thrown a wrench into things. It's going to be fascinating to see how everything plays out.
You got that right. This deep dive has really opened my eyes, and I'm sure our listeners are just as eager as I am to see what the future holds for crypto in this new era.
I agree. And what's particularly interesting is how this might affect the average investor. Will a potentially more favorable regulatory environment actually benefit everyday people who are interested in getting involved in the crypto space?
That's a great question, and it's one that we'll keep exploring as we dig deeper into this topic.
Exactly. There are so many angles to consider, and I'm sure we'll uncover even more insights as we go.
Well, this has been a fascinating start to our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still so much more to unpack. You ready to keep going?
Absolutely. I'm ready to delve deeper into what this election outcome could mean and what it could mean for the future of crypto.
Awesome, let's do it.
What's really interesting is that this election could be a huge turning point for crypto. Like, it could change its role in global finance forever. We're seeing a major world power, the US, really embrace this technology, and that has the potential to reshape everything we know about the financial system.
Okay, I'm starting to get how big this election is for the crypto world, but let's shift gears for a sec. Let's talk about the average person, you know, like you or me, someone who's just starting to explore crypto. How could all of this affect us directly?
That's a really good question, and it's something that a lot of people are thinking about right now. This election could have a huge impact on anyone who's interested in crypto, from experienced investors to people who are just learning about it. Imagine this. If Trump actually does what he's promised, we could see a crypto world that's much easier to access, one that's more regulated, and maybe even less volatile. This could open up tons of new opportunities for everyday people to get involved in the crypto economy. We might see it become more mainstream with regular people using it and more investment from those big financial institutions. We might even see totally new financial products and services, all built on blockchain technology.
That's pretty exciting stuff. I mean, who wouldn't want easier access to potentially life-changing financial opportunities, right? But let's look at the other side of the coin for a minute. What about the potential risks? What should people be careful about as they navigate this new crypto world?
You're right. It's super important to have a balanced view of this. There's a lot of potential for positive change, but we can't forget that crypto is still really volatile and unpredictable. Even with an administration that seems to be pro-crypto, there are still so many things we don't know.
Could you give us some specific examples? Like what kind of risks should we be watching out for?
Well, for one thing, the regulations could change in ways we don't expect. Trump might be talking about a more hands-off approach, but the actual rules and how they're put into practice could still take people by surprise. There's also the chance that new tech problems could pop up. The crypto world is always evolving, so we could run into new issues that we haven't even thought about yet. And let's not forget about the big picture of the global economy. Things like inflation, interest rates, and what's happening in geopolitics can have a huge impact on the crypto market, no matter who's in the White House.
You're making a really good point. It's easy to get carried away with all the hype about a potential crypto boom, but there are always risks involved. So what's your advice for someone who wants to get involved in crypto, but also wants to be smart and stay safe?
I'd say the most important thing is to stay informed and do your homework. Don't jump into something just because it sounds good or because everyone else is doing it. Take your time to understand the technology, learn about the different types of cryptocurrencies, and really get a grasp of the potential risks and rewards. There are tons of resources out there to help you, like educational websites, articles, podcasts, and YouTube channels. The more you learn, the better you'll be at making good decisions.
That's solid advice. Knowledge is power, especially in a world like crypto that's changing so fast. But it's not just about book smarts, is it? You also need to be smart about your emotions and managing risk.
Oh, absolutely. It's super important to know how much risk you're comfortable with. And only invest what you can afford to lose. Don't let emotions like fear or greed control your decisions. Come up with a solid investment strategy, stick to it, and be ready for the ups and downs that always come with the market.
This has been really insightful. I feel like I have a much better understanding now of both the opportunities and the challenges that are out there for crypto. It's amazing to see how this election has pushed crypto into the spotlight, and I'm really interested to see how it all unfolds over time.
Me too. We're at a really important point in the evolution of crypto, and this election could be the thing that triggers mass adoption and a wave of innovation. But it's crucial to approach all of this carefully, make smart decisions, and never stop learning.
That's a great way to put it. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important message is this. The future of crypto is still being written. This election has thrown a big curveball into the story, but it's not over yet. The next chapter is full of potential, but it's also going to be uncertain. The best way to navigate this exciting and always changing world is to stay informed, be strategic, and keep learning.
I couldn't agree more. Now, let's get to a question that I'm sure everyone is wondering about. Will Trump actually deliver on his promises? Will we see big changes in regulations, that huge Bitcoin reserve, and a boom in Bitcoin mining here in the U.S.? Or will it all fizzle out as he actually starts governing?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? And the only way we'll know for sure is to wait and see.
All right, buckle up, everyone. Looks like we're in for a wild ride. It's pretty wild to think that we might be seeing crypto go from like this niche thing to something everyone uses, like a real mainstream phenomenon.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. It makes you wonder, what could this mean for the average person? Will having easier access to crypto lead to, greater financial inclusion? Could it give people more power in ways we haven't even thought of yet?
Those are some really big questions. And I don't think anyone has all the answers right now, but it's definitely exciting to think about the possibilities.
Yeah.
And speaking of possibilities, let's go back to Trump's promises for a second. Do you really think he'll actually fire Gensler and set up that massive Bitcoin reserves and really boost Bitcoin mining in the U.S.?
It's hard to say for sure. Campaign promises are one thing, but actually governing, dealing with all the realities of that can be a whole different ballgame. There are political obstacles to overcome, budget limitations, and a ton of other things that could affect how things actually play out.
So we just have to wait and see, huh?
Yeah.
But even if he only follows through on some of his promises, it still had a huge impact on the crypto world, right?
Oh, absolutely. Even small changes in regulations or government policies can have a ripple effect throughout the entire crypto ecosystem. And don't forget, the crypto world is constantly changing. New technologies are always popping up. New ways to use crypto are being explored all the time, and the global landscape is constantly shifting.
It's like we're watching this high-stakes game unfold in real time. And we have absolutely no clue what the final score will be, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the most important thing is to stay engaged, stay curious, and never stop learning. The crypto world is constantly evolving, and the only way to really understand it is to stay informed and be open to new ideas.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
This deep dive has definitely made me even more curious about crypto, and I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way. We've covered so much today, from those unexpected election results to what it all means for the future of crypto.
Yeah, we've explored the excitement, the uncertainty, the potential for incredible opportunities, but also the possibility of unforeseen challenges.
And throughout it all, we've emphasized how important it is to stay informed, to make thoughtful decisions, and to approach this dynamic space with a balance of optimism and cautious realism.
Exactly. The crypto world is a fascinating and complex place, and this election has definitely shaken things up. It's going to be an amazing journey to see how everything unfolds over the next few months and years.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. To our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring the world of crypto. Stay updated on the latest developments and never be afraid to ask questions. The future of finance is being shaped right in front of us, and we each get to decide how we want to be a part of it. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning as